on a vehicle going thousands of miles per hour, being tens of thousands of feet up in the air, the sky is the limit when it comes to possibilities and what could happen on a plane, which for the most part, you are safe. You are going to be well taken care of. However, for some reason, being on an aircraft causes people to not act so much like their usual selves, like how they would be on solid ground. That said, it gets to a point. From people not understanding the meaning of what personal space is, people not being able to go just a couple of hours, not suckling on the teat of their favorite cherry-flavored Robodong. Plain etiquette over on TikTok seems to be rather in the dumps. Go to dramaqueen.myshopify.com or alternatively, click the link in the description box below. It is incredibly annoying being stuck on a plane for anywhere up to 18 hours with some kid who couldn't be considerate of fellow passengers around them who maybe does not want to be overstimulated, as a lot of people, including myself right here, have a really big fear of flying. And to be keeping people awake because you just had to bring the gaming headset on board is pretty dickish, considering that this is a night flight. Take the cat ears off! And at the very least, people on these flights deserve to feel comfortable and get a little snooze if they can. Oh, but drama queen, what if this is the only pair of headphones this person had and they didn't have any AirPods? I'm not saying to go and get AirPods. There are so many cheap alternatives for headphones that it almost feels pretty personal that this person brought on flashy glowing cat ears on a night flight where people are trying to get some fucking sleep. Like, where is the consideration? Where is the care for the fellow passengers around you? Anytime that I have been on a flight, it does not matter if it's been domestic or international, you can always ask for a pair of headphones if you don't have any or if you forgot to bring them, or flight attendants usually come around before the long haul flight to give you a pair of headphones because a lot of people forget to bring them. But drama queen, the quality of sound is so ass through plain headphones. True, but that's also why I probably personally would not bring these kinds of headphones onto a plane. But it also raises a very real concern. The concern of how we are in a me selfish epidemic where we can't even for a second think about how our actions might affect the people around us, let alone on a plane. We're on a pretty tight space that we're sharing together. We sign an invisible social contract that people, time and time again, seem to forget because it's like a no man's land on a plane these days. And people in the comments of this TikTok could not grasp the fact that, yeah, it would probably be really annoying trying to get to sleep and suddenly it's 3 a.m. in some random tunnel in Ibiza where you've just dropped some MD. I get it, you can't turn them off, so just take them off. It would be like if I was to watch TikToks on a plane at full volume because it doesn't affect me, so why should I care about everybody else around me? Of course, can I do that? Yeah, doesn't mean I should though. Can y'all let people enjoy themselves? No, no. Not when this person is getting enjoyment out of causing people discomfort on public transportation. Maybe there are people sitting close to this person who are trying to get some sleep. Maybe there are people who are epileptic. Maybe there are people who are really sensitive to those flashing lights. Maybe it's distracting. Maybe there are a plethora of reasons as to why you just shouldn't wear something like this on a plane to begin with. It reminds me when I was on a flight earlier this year and there were kids running around on the plane, which is already number one, but two, they were running around in flashy, glowy shoes like this. Like, okay, It's one thing when you're 8 years old, but it's a completely different thing when you're 28. I'm not against the concept of wearing these, but maybe let's not wear them on a plane. What I will say though is something that is quite common these days is that nobody has the gonads to speak up. If something is bothering you and is causing other passengers discomfort on a flight, you need to get up and report that. If you're just gonna make a TikTok out of it, then I don't really think it bothered you too much, did it? Me? I am saying something. I don't give a hoot, boot, or toot. Turn the headphones off. You are not playing Overwatch now, aren't ya? Now, what I will say about this next TikTok is that it had so many people divided. You had half of the people in the TikTok comments completely supporting what this old woman was doing, which was essentially non-stop invading the original poster's personal space, and the other half that were like, hey, nah, if this happens to me, I am punching bitches. I don't support, a punch on with an old woman because, she is old. They're probably dealing with a lot. Anyone dares do this to me on a plane when I'm already overwhelmed by the fact that we're 50,000 feet up in the air and there's so much turbulence and there's people who are being weird on the flight. And I'm like, what is going on? You will pay. Oh, you will pay. Best believe that. You don't just get to obstruct somebody's personal space just because your body can't handle the flight. Maybe purchase an extra seat on the plane. Does that sound a little harsh? If I know my body and I know that it has specific needs, I'm purchasing an extra seat. Sorry. A woman on TikTok shares her experience as to why she doesn't want to fly economy ever again. She's opened the video with telling a stranger to stop sitting on her as it's making her uncomfortable, as it would. But the stranger doesn't seem to want to listen. She then puts her legs onto this woman multiple times. One instance where she's resting her legs and another where she fully puts her leg into space that isn't hers, causing further discomfort for the original poster. It continues to get worse though. The stranger then lays her head on the woman's shoulder and further uses her as a pillow to sleep peacefully. The video ends off with the woman now wanting to get on the floor to, my guess, sleep. Now, I am quite understanding of the fact that older folks' bodies cannot handle a long haul flight, much like maybe a younger person's body can. Older people struggle to have their bodies acclimate to a level of comfort that it seems like everybody else around them has. I've been on so many different flights, and I'll tell ya, as a tall girl, my legs kill when I'm on an international flight. Even a domestic flight where I'm just flying from Melbourne over to Queensland. It's a 3.5 hour flight, give or take, and it still sucks. Like, my back hurts a lot on planes. My neck, oof. Do not even get me started there, dolls. I do get up to stretch occasionally, but even then, there is nothing as good as walking on solid ground. So it really isn't just old people that are uncomfortable on a flight. It's literally everybody dealing in their own discomfort in their own ways. I get that it's a lot different for them, but I do not think that this behavior from this older lady was appropriate whatsoever. I don't know if anybody else was feeling really hot in the chest whilst watching that. Like, maybe I have anger issues that I need to deal with. Possibly. But just because you are old does not automatically give you the pass to behave in this way. Like, this older lady was causing so much discomfort to the original poster that she posted multiple parts of this situation. It was a 14-hour flight. So again, I get it. Her body was probably in a lot of pain, and old people can't sit still for long periods of time because their bodies are a lot more fragile. We can acknowledge that. We can be understanding of that, but all my care goes out the window when you act like this. When you think that you can treat people however the you want to because I'm old. I don't care. purchase an extra seat, mate. It's like me going into a full-blown panic attack, screaming, crying, drooling, shaking, making the entire plane nervous. But guys, you don't understand. Like, I deal with anxiety pretty bad, so you can't say anything to me. Actually, yes, the you can say something to me. You can tell me to shut the up because I am acting improper on a public transportation vehicle. You don't just get to lay on a stranger, put your legs all up in their business and sit on them because your body can't handle long periods of staying still. I'm sorry, but it is up to that passenger to mitigate that by buying an extra seat so that she can lay down, so that she can put her legs all up in those spaces because she paid for that. She's not invading anybody's spaces. No, because that's her space. But I don't think it's fair to completely destroy somebody else's level of comfort just because you're uncomfortable. Since when are you just gonna make it everybody else's problem all because you have an issue? I'm sorry, but that's not fucking fair. A lot of people in the comments of this TikTok were asking the original poster, why did you not speak up about this? But she did. She quite literally did. There is only so much flight attendants can do, guys. Like, you are 50, 60,000 feet up in the sky. What do you think they can really do about this other than to tell her to stop? If she doesn't stop, it's not like there's really anybody of power on board to make her stop. I think the best thing to do in that situation is to make that old lady sit somewhere else, preferably in a seat that is not next to anybody. The problem only got worse to the point where the old lady sat her ass down on this poor woman, causing even more discomfort and even more issues. Is anybody just not like, oh my god, furious watching this? Believe this, I don't care if you're old and uncomfortable or young and uncomfortable. You are sniffing this cheese because what do you mean you feel this comfortable to sit down on a stranger and cause them issues for a 14-hour flight because your back hurts? Get actually. This old lady's behavior was not okay, and nothing could make me feel bad for her after what she put this woman through for hours on end. I hope at the very least this TikToker was able to get some sort of a voucher, of a refund for her ticket, because this is not okay, and this is something that shouldn't have even gone that far to begin with. It shouldn't have happened, and it makes me so sad that not really much could be done about it. Are people just not saying shit about this kind of behavior anymore in fear of presenting as a Karen, as if it is anywhere near Karen or Richard behavior to say, hey, turn your music off, you are on a plane, you wanker! The entire flight shouldn't have to begrudgingly put up with this behavior just because you're a selfish prick. The fact that this girl thought it was remotely okay to blast music from a speaker on a plane is just wild to me, because I'm too scared to wake up the person beside me if I haven't purchased an aisle seat so that I can get up to go to the toilet. Because, babes, like, I have been holding this piss for a couple of hours now, and your girl's vagina is going to burst into liquid flames. Please go up and move. Thank you. Now I'm just thinking in future, I'm not even going to get nervous asking if someone can, scooch over and move so I can get up to go to the toilet, because you have people out here doing this? What? How did this go on for so long? The moment the music came on, it should have been snatched right out of her hand. I'm already nervous as it is, just like everybody else on this flight. To be on a vehicle that's pretty high up in the air, that's pretty tight in space, that I've got to share with you lot of complete idiots. And here's this dumbass who thinks she's the main character, and the Snapchat memories are going to be so lit and elite to look back at in future. No, this is the kind of stuff that should keep you up at night. If you look back on this behavior years down the track and you don't think to yourself, if I was a putrid dickhead here. Maybe I shan't do this ever again. And there's not a crumb of embarrassment. You should be put on the no-fly list. Yeah, I'm so serious because people get put on that list for much less. How is she not nauseous before she goes to bed every night? I will quite literally lose sleep because I'll think about a word that I pronounced earlier in that day. And when everybody laughed at me because I pronounced it wrong, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm an embarrassment to society. I just need a dangle in the garage, bruh. Some girls out here are doing their skincare on the flight. Meanwhile, I'm 10 minutes into a Pilates session. Now, any Pilates goers, can you tell me this? Why are so many people who do Pilates this f***ing insufferable? Yeah, like, maybe we don't do that, methinks. This is something that is so highly inconsiderate of those around you who, I don't know, could trip over you. Like kids never pay attention on planes. A lot of the time, it's their very first time flying and kids don't really know how to put up with that. And so sometimes they're just getting up to have a little walk around and boom, they're injured because you needed to do your little Pilates on the flight. Why can't we just wait until we've landed and then book a Pilates session or do the Pilates at the hotel that you're staying at? My mind immediately goes to unexpected turbulence and her falling and possibly injuring herself, all because we needed to do Pilates to show the other girls that, you know, you don't do skincare on the plane, you do Pilates, you're so much better than them. Shut the f up, please. We've come to the elephant in the room. Vaping. Juvenile joke, Caitlin. Now, it's important that I talk about this real quick because it relates heavily to the topic. As you guys know, I used to be a smoker. I have cut back in the past couple of months because I just started to really take my health a little bit more seriously. It started to get to the point where it's like, a pack of 25 is going out in 48 hours. What the fuck am I doing? I'm just wasting money at this point. The last time, the most recent time that I was on a plane was back in April when I went to America with my partner and my sister. From Melbourne to LAX, it was a 16-hour flight. Now, did I think on that plane, ooh, would it be really good if I had a ciggy, mate? Yes, that thought did cross my mind. Did it ever cross my mind that I would actually light one up on there? No. Now, is there a complete difference to lighting one up on a plane versus vaping? Yes, obviously. But if I can go for 16 hours without a durry in my mouth, you can go 3 hours without your great little vapes. Never would I put fellow passengers at risk all because of my selfish ass being addicted to something that's rather not so good for me. It's nobody else's problem that I'm out here yearning for a backy stick. That's on me. That's my bad. I'm sorry. Just like it is nobody's problem that you can't go 3 hours without suckling the teat of your strawberry flavored robot penis. Pov, your best mate, can't go 2 hours on a plane without a vape. I only did it in the British accent because they do look British, but tough fucking luck, love. Put the damn thing back in your fucking bag. This is embarrassing. This was a really pathetic post. I'm running out of breath to put on TikTok. As a fellow blonde white woman, I'm disappointed in you lot. Cross, if you will. It's not so much that it's quite literally a federal crime to smoke on a plane, but you are putting fellow passengers at risk because you couldn't go a couple hours without sucking on it. Sure, this girl isn't blowing huge enough clouds for it to even be a real issue that, I don't know, could set off a passenger's asthma. Maybe somebody on that flight has emphysema, but you're selfish, addicted head ass just had to have a vape, just had to have a silly little drag on the flight because we just couldn't wait to fucking land. I just find it this pathetic that there are people out there who are that controlled by an electric cancer device. Now, obviously, I'm not much better than these people. I am not coming at them for being a vapor. I don't really care about that. What I care about is that these people always think that they're above the rules for some fucking reason. I don't care that you're a pretty blonde white girl. Put the fucking vape down. Seriously? I couldn't ever imagine being this fucking selfish. This one just confuses me because she wasn't even that slick about it. She didn't even bother to try and hide blowing out the smoke, but did when inhaling. Are we all there in the noggin, mate? What is this? I have been let through TSA plenty of times with smokes in my bag and a lighter, and it's probably for the fact that they know if I do anything on that plane, they are gonna arrest my ass. I would never even think about doing anything like that to begin with because it is not all about me. It's about me and everybody else on this flight. People are gonna know immediately when you light one up versus if you have a vape, because people aren't too upset when they're to smell artificial grape as opposed to literal tobacco being on fire. Robopene smoke is not as intrusive as cig smoke is. But that's exactly why I think that they just need to be taken away from passengers before they board a plane, because this is the greed that they be speaking of. This guy just straight up isn't even vape shy. He's blowing Lakitu clouds up on that plane and gets escorted by the police off the flight for being such a silly cunt. This guy is even worse because he didn't even fucking try. He didn't try to hide any of it. Not the inhaling, not the blowing out. It was just like, I can do whatever I want because I'm a white guy. Pretty fly for a white guy. No, you're not. I don't like you. Grr, I'm in a bad mood today and you're all getting it. Mate, you are kissing the lips of a watermelon flavored Robopene. It's getting to a point now. This even fuels all the fire in me to say, ban the fucking vapes from being taken on a flight. It is not fair to be putting other people at risk because of your addictions. Your addictions are only on yourself, not on everybody else. That's always been my philosophy. Do whatever you want in life. I, to be quite honest, do not care what you choose to put inside your body. That's your body, your choice, bro. The problem that I have is that these people seem to lack so much empathy, consideration, and care for those around them. You're putting people at risk, you're being an absolute fucking dickhead, and people like this, they just truly think that consequences don't apply to them. What makes matters even worse is that in this TikTok, you could see that there were so many kids sitting around this guy. I don't think kids deserve secondhand popcorn lung because you think you're such a fucking tough guy, can do whatever the fuck he wants. Why can't we just sit without it for the duration of the flight? It's not that serious. To be this chained up and shackled to a Robopene, we need to rethink some things here, man. So with all of that being said, everybody, have you ever had an experience similar to what I've spoken about in today's video? I would love to hear your story down in the comment section below. But if you are not comfortable with having that kind of stuff out there, email me at dramakweensubmissions@gmail.com. Thank you so much for your stay at Yappersville today, everybody. I cannot wait to see you again soon. Take care of yourselves and most of all, love your fucking selves.